Welcome viewers to another episode of Game Review. Today we have a matchup between Sergey Karjakin and Yangyi from the Lindores Abbey Rapid Challenge. This was a 15 plus 10 second online tournament that was hosted as part of the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour, and today we're going to review their game. Before we do that, guys, if you like this content, please remember to hit the subscribe button and feel free to comment in the section down below if you want us to review any specific games. Okay, let's get it started. Karjakin played with the white pieces, he went d4, and Yangyi playing with the black pieces went d5. Let's see how the game progressed. So the game continued. White went knight f3, knight f6, g6, e3, bishop g7, knight d2, castle c3, b6, bishop e2, some type of a London system setup, c5, castles, bishop e7, b4, c4, knight e5, knight bd7, and bishop f3, queen c8, a4, knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, bishop h6, queen c2, knight d7, bishop f4, bishop g7, and the pawn break comes in the form of e4. Now, black decided to also break with the pawn to e5, the whole center coming apart now, and it's all about white having to choose which pawn to take. So just to point out that because this bishop is under threat, there's obviously a priority must be made of the e5 pawn in order to establish which piece to take with either the pawn on d4, the bishop on f4. Karjakin just decided to take the pawn on d, and after the knight takes back on e5, he took on e5. Just to point out that e takes d5, this move is not really an option because there's an intermediate move for black that if he takes on d5, the knight recaptures the bishop on f3. After knight f3, bishop takes d5, and black gets to keep the bishop there and gets quite a bit of activity on the light squares. So instead, this was avoided by taking on e5 first, and then simply taking on d5, picking up the extra central pawn. So this is just black without a pawn and no real activity for that piece. After queen c7, both the bishop and the queen threaten the h2 pawn, and after g3, rook ac8, rook fd1, it is clear to see that with this knight coming to f1, and e3, protecting both the d4 square and attacking the c4 pawn, that black is slightly under pressure. Rook fd8, knight f1, h5, trying to create something on the king side. After knight e3, again, I have to mention that this pawn is now protected on d4, and after a move like bishop e2, this pawn will inevitably drop on c4 as well. And with the queen on c2 covering all the squares around the king, there should be no complications on the g3 square. So queen d6 gets played just to blockade the d6 pawn, and after bishop e2, the c4 pawn is lost. Queen f6 threatening c3, white just protects. After h4, the bishop takes the pawn on c4, bishop retreats back to d6 because the pawn blockade needs to happen. There's all sorts of funny business with regards to opening up this bishop's diagonal. So bishop e6 gets played, and after rook to d4, h takes g, h takes g, and rook e8. The idea obviously being a possible sack on g6, and then this rook will take the e3 knight after this pawn has to move to recapture the bishop on g3. So after queen d2, just simply protecting the knight, and queen g5, bishop d5, asking the rook on e8 what it's doing. It goes back to d8, bishop c6, getting rid of that dangerous b7 light square bishop, and also opening up the d file for the rooks and the queen. Yeah, black decides it's time to sacrifice and try for perpetual or a draw, but it ultimately leads to nothing after f takes g, queen takes g, now g2, rook e8, and it's way too easy for white here just to simply play b5 and consolidate. Rook b7, queen f2, and with the rook going on f1, it is basically over. Rook f8, queen d4, queen e6, rook f6, queen e2, and after queen takes g, rook takes g6 check, Yangyi decided to resign. Just to explain that if this pawn takes, there is a checkmate on g7 with the queen, and if the king moves to h7, there's also a checkmate with the queen on g7. So regardless of what black does, they get checkmated. Very interesting and sharp game that developed from quite a boring London system position, but very positionally well played, I have to say. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you like this content, please remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you want us to do any specific reviews, please do it in the comment section down below, and we will be sure to give you what you want. Thanks for watching.